What's up, everyone? Welcome to War Whiskey Podcast. My name is Justin. As always, that's Chris. Chris, how are you doing?
Good, bud. How you doing, man?
Man, doing good, man. It's been a minute. Real quick, I want to recap and thank you guys for growing the channel so much. And it has grown incredibly over the last few days. We're almost up, almost over 300 new subscribers or new likes.
That's awesome, man.
Super stoked about that. And we're continuing doing great things. Episode 5 recap, Chris. We talked about Charlie Company reunion ramps down. And like I said, I was there. I just recently did a podcast with the Washington podcast. Everyone, feel free to check them out. Fantastic job. And we both commented on how great of a job it was. And I know that you were sorry for missing it because you had the Rona.
Yeah. Became a COVIDian pretty quick, and that was a big damper to a lot of plans that week.
Got the proverbial T-shirt from that one.
Oh yeah. I'm a collector of T-shirts.
You and I both have a few T-shirts that we have inherited. For people who are new to the show, Chris and I have known each other for 22 years. I've known this guy the longest of anybody in my personal and military life, actually.
Yeah, good times.
Actually, he's the first guy I slept on this couch for a year. Check out that episode.
Is it labeled guy on the couch?
I was the guy on the couch who would offer like words of wisdom. Not really.
Yeah.
Those were people, what's funny about that story? People ask me, where was you at on 9/11? I was on your couch.
Yeah.
When that happened. I was on your couch when that happened because I hadn't go to work yet. Very liberating times. Happy Thanksgiving to the audience.
Yeah, you as well.
And then Chris there. What's some Thanksgiving traditions that you have?
Man, I tell you, we've never been like a real serious tradition family where we had to do something. I think the overall tradition for anybody who is a fan of football is you eat turkey until you have to unbutton your pants and you watch football all day.
Did you see the games that are coming out on Thanksgiving Day?
Yeah, no, I mean, not all the matchups, but I'll be watching them, I'm sure, because I mean, even if it's the Lions and the Texans or the Lions, and
it's the Lions and Bears, I think.
So even better, yeah. So Lions and Bears. So
I want the Lions to win because I like Dan Campbell. I think he's coaching himself there, but I'm not a Lions fan per se, but he's a very invested coach, and I like that. I think the other one's the Cowboys and Raiders or something like that. I don't really remember that one. Same
that
thing.
And just a couple of staples that we have to have. Like I'm a big fan of pecan pie. Absolutely love it. Pecan pie is so good. You got to have eggnog, and you got to have deviled eggs. Everything else is just like basic stuff that everybody has.
Just cake frosting, basically.
Yeah.
I am a raisin pie guy. People don't know that.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Raisin pie. That's right. Like the fruit raisin. That's right. I don't like pecan pie. I like raisin pie. If people want to talk about it, we can fight it out.
I can just see the comment section blowing up asking what in the world is raisin pie?
Delicious. You have to eat it cold to appreciate it. My grandma used to make it, and my wife and her mom can make it now.
Oh, there you go.
That's where I got it from. No one else could make it.
That's a good tradition.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one of the few things I look forward to on Thanksgiving besides football and turkey. Speaking of that, you and I both celebrated. I've celebrated 3 Thanksgivings on deployment, but you and I both shared one on our first deployment. What do you remember about that Thanksgiving Day on deployment in 2004?
Yeah, like we were talking in pre-production. If I remember right, I think that's the one we were at this special place that had like the actual post office. And we had turkey, which was like one of the best meals that we had while we were there, obviously. And then I remember seeing that mural on the ceiling of one of the buildings. And it was where after the first Iraq, when we went and liberated Kuwait, Saddam Hussein lied to his people and said that, he tossed the Americans out, all that stuff. And on the ceiling of this thing was this mural, these cartoon Iraqi soldiers beating up Americans, and we're all running scared. And one of them in a headlock. And man, I wish if I could have taken a picture of that, I would love to see that. It just entertained the crap out of me.
There was a lot of that over there. If you remember, like they had they had this whole propaganda where they won.
Yeah.
And we all know that's not the case in either war. I remember us. So you and I were trying to figure out if that was Christmas or Thanksgiving. Christmas we clearly had on our fob.
Yeah.
All the command serves you. That's one
Yeah.
of the things they all serve you. I kind of like it. Every deployment I've been on, they've done that.
Yeah.
A certain rank, but we did a patrol that day because you don't stop patrolling on holidays.
No.
But it wasn't like a gangster patrol. It was kind of like a quick presence. Then we went over to that fob, and that's when the thing about being deployed in a certain area, you realize how some people live according in contrast to you. And I was like, this is how y'all eat. Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Like we get cold cut sandwiches and we're living like kings. We're like, oh yeah. Yeah. What was it? It was like Sunday, or I can't remember when we got cold cut sandwiches, but we would do that mid morning patrol and we go get brunch with cold cut sandwiches. And it was like, yeah, I'm getting some turkey and some ham.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was it. And these
That
cats,
was a day of diversity because we got several different lunch meats.
yeah, I remember like we were in line at the green zone with the battalion, the 153, and they were grappling about tacos again. And Kevin and I were like, oh my god, you guys got tacos? Oh man, it's crazy, but that's how some people live. Some people's deployments are like they get so bougie. They're like, oh my gosh, we're getting the same 7 fried eggs and bacon again. We're like, oh really? Yeah. So Chris, after the deployment, we're going to talk. We're talking about transition in this episode. We talked a little bit about Thanksgiving, and what's spurring this is that leaving the military is a monumental change in your life,
Right.
regardless if you're M-Day on deployment or you're just getting out of AGR, whatever. And the reason I'm bringing this up is as a state right now, the AGR slots, which is active guard reserve, which is full time, which is what I am, they're diminishing. So the road to the top is getting very narrow. So a lot of people are facing the fact that they're going to have to get out at their current rank. I have something I've accepted because to get to the top, you have to deal with, people of my same rank who are in 3 years when I go up against them, they're 100% like, you're going to roll me out at the age of 60. And you and I both know that I have no intentions of staying past these next 3 years. Yeah. And the culture's changed. And you and I talked to pre-production how back in our day, when we first got in, people were like, just, clawing, I can't get out. I can't get out. I can't get out. Yeah. And now we're like counting down the days. Everyone I know has a calendar that's counting down the days.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Because it's way different now. You kind of lose a lot of perspective. And once things change is whatever the reason for the decline, once it starts hitting home and where it's not, you don't get the same payout and the investment that you're doing, man, right. It loses a lot of its effect.
Right. I'm really honestly, if it wasn't for the healthcare and the fact that I make an outrageous amount of money for what I do as far as work wise, and I do love serving. I really do. But how Jacob Sullivan told me when I saw him at the reunion, he misses the circus animals, but not the circus. And that's because it's so changing so fast and it's so me centric. But you actually got transitioned out of the military.
Yeah. So like the biggest transition back into the real world was after the deployment.
Okay.
I mean, even though I already had, I didn't leave I just took a leave of absence. So when I came back, a position at my job was there. So I just had to integrate back in. And that was kind of a struggle in the fact that, even though we were still on orders for a period of time, like a month or whatever, getting paid and not doing anything, that does tend to get old. But I mean, that's kind of like a mini retirement when you get time off and you're still getting paid for it. But when I went back to work, it was such a drop off of adrenaline. So I started doing a lot of goofy things. I'm not really goofy, just kind of things that keep that edge. Cause you know how the feeling is when that ramp drops, you get that push. And so, I did some stuff, like I went bungee jumping, we took a trip to Vegas, we'd go out.
Vegas trip, sidebar, Vegas trip is a whole, that's like,
that's probably a two-parter.
They actually based the hangover off our trip. It's a two-parter. And I tell you right now, if you're under the age of 18, you don't need to listen to that one. That was
that was a fun one.
Yeah.
And it's just things like that I was trying to, just kind of keep that edge. And it's kind of like a drug, you do the adrenaline stuff for so long and you don't want to lose it. And so as I got integrated back in the office, there's the same stuff as, like if I don't see a balloon pop and I, just comes out of nowhere, of course I overreact, or if I'm driving to work and, a little bit of traffic is a little too or something like that, I get a little impatient. But that was probably the transition as far as like back to real life. But by the time I'd gotten out, we had just got activated for our second deployment overseas.
Yep.
And so I didn't pass. And so I got sent home. And so that was just kind of like, all right, well, I'm done. Because once I got tagged not going, I was like, well, I'm done with this anyway. Because my brain was pretty much shut off at that point. Because like you say, there was a lot of me. And once you get past this stuff, it's like, it's not service anymore. We're just wasting time. Because I just remember like a couple of weekends or drills or something that we go, well, we can just go home now. It's like, no, we have to wait till certain times. Like, we're not doing anything. We're cleaning weapons that weren't even pulled out. We're cleaning the CO's weapon, we're kind of diddling. And I had a 2-hour drive to go back home, 2.5-hour drive to go back home. And so, I mean, when it got to that point, I was like, just forget about it. Cause we weren't training for anything. We were just there to be there. So that's when I was kind of okay with being out and kind of switched that way. But yeah, those were probably the two biggest things that I had to go through at that time, was the transition back to work and then into a career. And then just once getting out, probably wasn't as bad as a drop off for me as it was everybody else, but it was definitely a change for sure.
Do you think the fact that you had, first of all, how was the transition to work? How did people treat you?
Well, I knew some of the people anyway, from coming back because they were there when I'd left. So as far as people treated me, like, I mean, nobody really treated me differently other than like the new people who didn't know me, but I integrated pretty quick back into it.
Yeah.
Of course, it's from an outside perspective, when you see a guy jump because a balloon pops, it's funny, because you don't know why they're doing that. But then when you hear the backstory, it's like, well, then they kind of feel like a dick for laughing. But, once you can get to that point where it's like, it's not that big a deal, you can laugh it off as well. Integration's not that tough. I mean, some people probably have a harder time than I did, and some people probably had an easier time than I did. So I'm probably just middle of the road about integrating back in.
Right. I remember like when you and I got back, because you were with me when we assaulted Northwest Arkansas by storm. I stayed to have my my leg repaired.
Yeah.
And I was kind of coming back and forth between Northwest Arkansas, because I was living out there, and getting my knee repaired. When I say living, I was staying in a hotel just to hang out. But I remember, like, you talk about self-destructive tendencies that tend to happen because we're riding the adrenaline train.
Yep.
I mean, I've got X'd out every bar on Dixon Street. Not now because they're all new, but then you were with me. You were with me.
Yeah.
We take like that, and I'll be out. And that's some of the tendencies that happen, and people need to be aware of, like when they come off deployment. Maybe not now because there's not really a combat deployment, but we just got off of a significant combat deployment where we were doing some gangster stuff all the time, more than any of our peers. You're going to try to keep that high going. And I like how you said that, because that's what we were doing.
Yeah.
Mine was self-destructive tendencies.
Yeah. That's a good phrase to think about it too, because man, we used to just go so hard, so fast.
I mean,
just to get back to that point. Yeah. I mean, I can mention some other stupid things that I've done, but I don't want to go too far into it. But
no, not at all.
It's just that when you think of that, like, why did I do something that dumb? And luckily, I didn't hurt myself. A lot of my friends didn't get hurt in situations that we did and stuff like that. We basically going out to have fun and to get that edge back. And it wasn't intended to go out and hurt anybody or ourselves. It's just to try and get that edge that we were used to. And it's funny. It's like, you don't miss it until it's gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah,
man. Then that rush of like the adrenaline, all that stuff pumping through you is so addictive. It's so addictive. It's like a drug that you just can't get enough of. Next thing you know, you're waking up in a Taco Bell drive-through, wiping the X off your hand because you're getting ready to go to the Electric Cowboy, which is right there, which truly happened. Get X'd out on Dixon Street and wake up at the Electric Cowboy about I don't know, 3 miles away.
Yeah. You got to keep the party going, man.
Chris Autry and I have been through a lot of, if we ever got brave enough to talk about one night that we went out, one weekend that we went out, it would be,
that would be a live stream that we never record.
Never record it. One time, one and done.
Yep, one and done.
I will say from my experience, my second deployment was harder for me to integrate. And I had problems integrating my first one. But my second one as a leader coming back and through going through some personal development of my own, I was kind of at these crossroads. And this was '09. You've already been out. And what the significance of me was you got out and a lot of the Charlie company was out and I basically left all the friends in Northwest Arkansas and kind of started my own life. And I got back in '09 and and this resonates with me as I was lost. I remember like my mother for some reason was living in Johnson and I stayed with her just when I got back for temporarily. Then I ended up moving into keeping the house as she moved back home. But I remember wandering Dixon Street in the middle of the day, not knowing what to do because I was still on terminal leave, so I didn't have to go back to Walmart. I went back to Chris and I both worked at Walmart corporate office at the same time. I went back a week later, drawing terminal leave money and Walmart money.
Double dipping.
Yeah, double dipping, which everyone does. It's not a crime. But as I'm walking, it's like I'm walking down Dixon. I had no purpose, no purpose at all. And that's when I had problems reintegrating. Not like I was like, oh, I'm going to cut myself. Nothing stupid like that. I just didn't have a purpose. And the fact that actually I was toying with going to selection because I was in really good shape. So I thought about going to Special Forces Assessment and Selection. I was really toying with that at the time. But luckily, the schoolhouse in Arkansas called me to come on orders and work there. And, I don't know if I share a story. I said no the first time. Then I walked back to my building and 400 people you remember the great layoffs of '09?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like 400 people got laid off like that by Walmart. And I thought, you know what? I didn't get laid off. I watched all these great people get laid off. I'm just a number. Let me go do this. And it's been the best decision I've made since then.
Yeah.
But
my now wife was in that first one.
What's that?
My now wife was in that first wave.
She wasn't she?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a horrible when I watched them escort some really great people who've been there since Sam was there. And police escorting them and loss prevention were escorting them out. I was like, this company, I was like, this is incredible. I've never seen anything like that. I remember that VP went up there and said, everyone in this room is retained, and he ran off. That was it. And I was like, all right, I'm done with this business right here. But what was your first thoughts? And I think we kind of touched on, but what was did you have a plan when you got out of the military? Because that takes 1 week in a month, 2 weeks a year at a minimum at our time.
Yeah.
Now it's a little bit more.
No real plan, because my plan when I got in was to pay for college. And then I got into the world and saw how life hits you in certain areas at certain times. My priorities kind of changed, and then my job just became my career, and I kind of stuck with it. And then, I used up all my stuff. And so once I hit my intended plan from the very beginning, I was like, I'm done. I was like, I don't have anything to live up to, because I fulfilled everything. I don't want to say it's a good, term of service or whatever, but there wasn't any more that I could do. I couldn't go back to a war a second time.
Right.
You know what I mean? I couldn't go back with the guys we were with. I couldn't do the same stuff again. Done it. Yeah. I've seen a lot of different phases of the world. I've seen peace. I've seen war. I've seen love. I've seen hate. So I kind of just moved on from there. It's like, there's nothing more I can get out of it.
Right. I didn't have a plan. So I stayed and went and deployed again. I actually, knowing me, I couldn't walk away from that.
Yeah.
I can't walk away from deployments. I'm not saying you did by no means, but I'm saying, me, and the lure of like Justin Fisher is addicted to that.
Yeah.
That's his addiction. He is going to go to that combat zone every time. Even though we didn't see, we saw one woman blow herself up, or we didn't see her blow her up, but she was scattered over the trip. It's not a big deal. I talked about it in the Watch Talk podcast, but I had to go because I didn't have a plan. And I guess that's how come, like, I didn't formulate a plan till 2013 is when I started formulating my plan B. So if you could go back and give some advice to someone transitioning out, and like I said, the AGR slots are narrowing, the deployments are not becoming bougie anymore, they're becoming more of a peacekeeping style. What would something that you would what kind of advice would you give someone if you could give advice?
If I was giving somebody either transitioning out, well, I'll tell you what, I'd give anybody the same advice. Have
Okay.
a plan. Have a
Yes.
plan on what you want to do and what goals you want to attain. And once you get those done, then you go to plan B, which is either do you want to carry on the same path and obtain new objectives, or do you want to start a new path? So whether it's somebody's getting in or out of the military, whether somebody's starting a career, or leaving school, or going to school, or whatever, that's exactly what I would tell them. Like, just make sure you have a plan, write down your goals. When you hit them, move on to the next plan or start something new.
Yeah. And you and I have talked about having a vision and all that stuff.
Yep.
The Schwarzenegger 5 rules of success. That's the exact same advice I would have a plan. Like I have a vision of where I want to be. And with that comes the wealth, the recognition, the legacy, the impact, all that's wrapped up in that package.
Yeah.
And that's where I ultimately see. And I'm 100% with you. That was exactly what I said. Have a plan.
Yep.
Have a plan. Don't be one of those people who you stay until they medical you out or they say you can't stay no more. Don't be that person because we talk about the highest suicide rate in Arkansas, and a lot of these veterans get out and they don't have anything.
Yeah.
They're not getting that fulfillment. And let's be frank, our transition program is decent, but it's not great. And I think a lot of it because it's not great is because we don't have you have a lot of veterans you go in there and they're like, or transitioning service members. And what they've done is they've mirrored their mentor. They've been like, well, he said, get this degree in this. I know guys who gotten degrees just for a promotion board, and it's a useless degree.
Yeah.
Now they're having to get masters in something they can use. I'm like, you're garbage. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Why would you waste the time and do all that to get just so you can get promoted?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm one of those
like somebody with a plan.
Yeah, I got a degree in communications because I wanted to be in this genre. This is the medium I wanted to be in. I agree with rats, I would care less if I went, and then they go to like one of those generic schools that they offer on, in the military. Hey, best military school, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's not like not accredited, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying they're all like that, but there's a lot of people who made decisions based on their career. Look, the military is a business. Do you agree?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
Yeah, 100% is a business. And when you are not a viable product, and this is not National Guard, this is every branch, you in the go. Because they have to get return investment from you.
Yeah.
That's it. What we always tell you, how much does it cost to train a soldier? You have to train you, and then they get their investment. That's like how they justify the 6-year contract.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's an honor to serve. It's an honor to do what we did. We did some amazing things, but you got to have that plan B.
Yeah.
And
definitely.
I definitely didn't want to be one of those veterans who end up working on the post that I stayed at for X amount of years.
Yeah. When I kind of decided, I was like, I'm pretty much done as to where, there's nothing more that I could do. I also got to a point where it's like, I'm not going to let them take this from me. I'm going to take everything I can from them. And in that meaning, all my training and stuff like that, because if I stay here too long, I'm going to become dependent on staying in the military. And when that's gone, they've taken it from me. So I avoided that situation.
Yeah, I've made this statement numerous times. I'm making it again. I said my first 20. So when I get out, I'll have 25 years. My next 25 is for me. I don't care if people don't even know I serve. I'm assuming they're going to have some assumption that I served. It is not going to be regarded in the military. I do a military podcast, but you and I both know I do other things than that.
Yeah.
But I definitely don't want anything to do with it. I want the next 25 to be me.
Yeah.
And a lot of people retire and they go work on posts, and that's your path to happiness. That's great. That's not ours. I know that wasn't yours.
Yeah. No.
And I will say this for people who are transitioning. Chris hit it right on the nail. Have a plan. Whatever that plan is, nothing can keep you from doing that plan. Do you agree?
Yeah, 100%. You have to be committed to the plan. The step that you take needs to be a step that's in the plan. Even if you have a step in your plan that says tread water for 6 months,
you're treading water. That's fine.
Yeah. Have it in there just so it's like, hey, I have this downtime planned because I'm in a situation where things are just up in the air right now.
Right. And have faith in your vision, even when it doesn't look like it's going to work out.
Yep.
Even when it works out, because you look at it, it's all part of the journey. But if you have that vision, like you want to be, and don't Don't let them corral you into something that you're not.
Yeah.
You don't have to do military related things outside. If you want to be a singer and you think you got the talent, go do it. Go be that.
Yeah.
You and I have done a lot of karaoke, and we're kind of famous for karaoke. If anybody ever was in Doc Murdoch's during the early 2000s, you probably saw some Ain't No Lie, Bye, Bye, Bye.
Yeah. That's more entertainment value than actual talent, though, as well, too. So
we had sold out. We sold that much out. Yeah, we did. Whole different podcast, folks. Whole different podcast. Don't ask me to do NSYNC. Ain't no bye, bye, bye.
Yeah.
As I do that. Groupies. What's that?
We had groupies and fans.
We did have groupies. There's one image that comes to mind. Jimmy Trong.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, man. So those are good times then. But Chris hit it on the head. Have a plan. Formulate your plan now. Don't let this decide. I've heard people say, I'm going to stay until they make me get out. And that's not the right truth, especially with the professions that, we have Amazon coming here. We have a lot of great stuff in Central Arkansas, Northwest Arkansas. Yeah. Phenomenal opportunities up there.
Yeah. Plenty of it.
So, I mean, it's an open door for anything you want to do. Chris, I hope you enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Thanks, man. You too. Enjoy your raisin pie.
Raisin pie. And by the time the audience hears this will be past Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody. On behalf of War Whiskey Podcast, I'm Justin Fisher. That's Chris Autry. We're signing off. Peace out.